Hello and welcome to the Car Care Nut channel. Folks, today we have a problem with this Lexus that we're going to take a look at, listen to the problem, diagnose it, and go from there. Customer states on this 2013 Lexus ES350 that every time he goes over a driveway, bumps, there is a rattling noise from the sunroof. Now, my experience from the Toyota side of things, there is some problems in the metal that folds. It starts hitting each other and they make that similar rattling noise. But the thing about these Lexuses is there's actually a common problem with the seal around the glass. And the way to know this is when you tilt the sunroof up, the noise stops. Let's go take this Lexus for a quick drive so you can hear the noise and see how it goes away as part of our listening to the customer concern and verifying that we actually have a problem right after this. So let's try to duplicate this noise. This is the kind of noise when you go over a bump, like a driveway or big bumps on the street. You'll hear it right in this area. So let's try it right here. I'm gonna pull in here. You can hear it creaking away. You hear it a lot now. I hope it's clear on video. So, right there, if you pop the sunroof up, just tilt it up. Now let's get going. Completely goes away. It's gone. We're going through a lot of bumps. Nothing. That's your key to know for sure. This is the same issue you are dealing with on this one. So let's go back to the shop and we'll take care of this one. All right, folks. So the first thing we're going to do is actually remove the glass panel of the sunroof itself. And in order to do that, we need to remove these side covers. There's 4 bolts and then the glass comes out. When you handle glass, you gotta be careful. Don't drop it, don't hit it. Of course, the obvious things apply when dealing with glass. This glass can be really expensive, so you really wanna be careful when you're doing one of these jobs. Let's pull these side seals off first. So this one, you're gonna want to remove the top, just kinda pull on it. It'll detach like so. And then the bottom as well, same way. These have these little tracks right here that clip in. I'll show you that installation. But one thing you want to do is keep each side to itself. What I usually like to do is just leave them on the dash. Now you know this is the passenger side, driver's side. Same thing on this side. We're just gonna pull it out like so. And then pull the bottom one. Here it is. Very simple. Now, we have 4 bolts, 2 here, 2 on the other side. So let me take these Torx and we'll get the glass out. T25 Torx, let's take them out. I usually like to keep bolts, interior bolts, in a cup holder. That way we're not taking them out and losing them. They stay inside the car. It minimizes the mess. Do the same on the other side. So now the glass is loose in this position, the tilt position. That's the position we're going to start with. You can do it in the down position. It makes it a little harder, but this is easier. Now you can pick up the glass easily. You got to be very careful with this because the glass have the tabs sticking out of it. I'll show you in a second. You can easily scratch the car pretty bad. So just pick it up, watch your surroundings, and bring the glass down. This glass is pretty strong. But if you start mishandling it, it'll pop in your face, injure you, damage the customer car. You gotta be very careful when you handle glass. These are the tabs that I was telling you about. I have seen so many mechanics be careless with these glass when they pull it out and they leave a giant scratch all across the roof. Trust me, in a professional environment, that is the worst moment you can have when you walk in your manager's office. You're like, yep, I scratched, I put giant 2 scratches on the roof of a customer car. That is the worst thing. Be very careful when you handle glass and when you deal with customer cars, of course. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do here, I put some towels here just so when we move the glass it doesn't get scratched. Here's what I like to do with these glasses when you replace the seal. You see right here on the rubber seal, there's this divot right here. That's actually a locator. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a wax crayon, we're gonna leave a mark right on the glass where that thing is. So when we put our new seal, you know exactly where to line it up. You don't line this up, this whole thing will be all sideways and won't seal right, and this job will go south. Very careful with the glass when you do this. I cannot say this enough. Another thing is, before we continue, we're gonna note the location of this opening. This is actually a drain in the seal, so I'm gonna put a little mark here so I wouldn't forget. Just put a little mark with the crayon where that opening in the seal is, because you're gonna find that same opening in the new seal. So now we're just gonna pop the seal, just like that. And pop it across. That's our old seal. Let's put it to the side. So here's the new seal. Let's get it out. The first thing you're gonna do is orientate your seal. Open it up, it's usually in the packaging. Make sure it's all, just let the seal expand a little bit. Locate your divot, which is right here on this one. Here's your opening. So here's the opening, here's the divot. We're gonna orientate that in the correct position first, because this seal is actually from the factory. It is pre-molded to the shape of the glass, but because you put it in the packaging, it gets all out of form. So you wanna open it up, locate your first place. We're good. This is gonna be here, right next to our mark, and the opening right next to our other mark. So, this is the difficult part about this. This is the part where you have to get this right, otherwise the seal will just pop out and now we have problems. You're gonna use silicone spray. Doesn't matter the brand, doesn't matter whatever it is, as long as it's silicone spray. We're gonna put a very small amount of silicone spray as we go. We're gonna put it right at our starting point. You always start where your marks are so you can get the glass orientated correctly. We're going to put it, push it, and double check our marks. You can see that this is, the divot is lined up with the line and the opening. So I see this one, if you see it right now, it's a little bit this way. So I'm going to pull it to correct it. That's much better. Now we're going to continue. You're just going to push it down, and as you push it down, you're going to want to go back and double check, because this seal, without silicone spray, is near impossible to seal it. You're going to make sure that it's seated, pull on it a little bit, make sure it's not just going to pop right out. I'm going to put some more silicone spray. Don't go silicone spray all around it first, because silicone spray dries, and now you're back to square one. Get to the corners, things get a little interesting. You gotta make sure you go back always and make sure your seal's sitting right. Put some more silicone spray. You can hear it clipping in. Always go back and check. If you had an area where it was not sealed, you'll feel it. It'll be like a raised bump. And that's how you know we're not seated. At this point, I'm gonna start from here, because I don't want to reach the end with the exposed seal. I want to meet it right here. I don't want to meet it where the opening in the seal is. So let's continue. As you reach the end, you're going to end up with this situation. Seal is very tight. Now you have to stretch it. Once you stretch it, it'll sit there and you won't be able to put your silicone spray. So I'm going to silicone spray this area real quick and then stretch the seal over. Now that we got the seal all the way across, I'm going to run my hand over it, make sure it's all seated, that we didn't miss any areas that are still not clipped in all the way. Okay, now that we're done, we're actually not done. We still have one more thing to do. If you look at the glass right now, you'll see that the seal is actually not sitting right. Come, bring the camera right here. You see how it has all this stuff on it? We're gonna just go across it and kind of pop it out like this, just to make sure that that lip sits over. I'm just grabbing. You can do this with a screwdriver, but I don't like using screwdrivers around glass. That's how you scratch it. You could just grab the seal with the edge of your fingernail and just pop it. Oh, here. Go. Sometimes when you pop this, the seal will actually pop off, so make sure you go over it. This area right here. Okay, at this point, our seal is all in. And the glass is now disgusting. It's full of silicone spray. This is where you really want to take pride in your work. Clean this glass. I know you can clean it when you put it in the car, but as you handle this glass, now you have silicone spray all over your hand. You're touching the interior of the customer's car, and now the customer's car smells like silicone spray. Take pride, clean it right now. So let me grab something to clean it, and we'll go install it. Silicone spray really stays, so be liberal with the cleaning. We're not trying to get the glass at this point to a mirror clean finish. We'll do that at the end. But we're trying to get the silicone spray off of it before we take our gloves off. Anyway. All right, that's clean, and here's a trick from the industry. When you use a glass cleaner, make sure you use a glass cleaner that smells nice. It might smell strong initially, but it has a pleasant smell. That way when your customer gets in the car after you're done, the car smells pleasant, not smell like CV boot grease, because that's what you were doing before. Let's go put the glass back on the car. Put the glass on the car. Gotta be very careful again, not to do any scratching. There we go. Now let's go inside, tighten our bolts, and we do have to center the glass or level it. So once we tilt it back, you want the glass to be level with the roof, not in, not sticking out, because then you have whistling noises. So we're going to install our bolts first. Hand tighten them. Do not tighten them all the way because we got to do the adjustment. And another piece of advice, the track has grease on it. That's normal. So when you get off the track with your grease, watch out to the headliner. That's a very common one, to stay in the headliner like that. And then you're spending an extra half hour wiping at the headliner, and that's not a good thing. Okay. Now that we got it this way, let's turn the key on. Let's lower it down, and let me go show you the adjustment. So this is the adjustment that we talked about. Do you see how the glass is sunk in right now? So if I push it up, it actually comes up. But if I let it go, it starts to come down. This, ideally, if you've never done this kind of work, this is a two-person job. you'll have somebody in the inside loosening and tightening the bolt, and another person outside looking. That front corner I'm happy with, but we're going to revisit this once everything is set. Let's do the back corner, raise it up. You want this edge of the seal to be exactly with the glass. You're going to revisit this because once you do the other side, things might change. So let's go do the other side. So the front, I can see it, it's still sunken in. So we're going to need, the rear is good, but the front, we're going to loosen this side, raise it up, tighten it, loosen that side, raise it up just a little bit, and then tighten it. This is a trial and error, so I'm going to do this off camera and then show you the final result, because this takes back and forth of trying to adjust it. So this is how the final result looks like. You want your seal to be flat with the front, flat with the back, flat with the sides, and even. This takes a lot of practice. I've done many of these sunroofs, so it's very easy, but this will take a little bit of trial and error. Two-person job makes it much easier. We're going to do the final cleanup here in a little bit, but let's go inside the car and install the last seals that we have, the side seals. Now that our covers are done, do not over tighten these bolts. I've done this multiple times. I know what tight is tight, but you'd over tighten these, you could strip out where they go, or worse, break the bolts, and now you're looking at a whole sunroof drop. Do not do that. Torque them to spec if your hand is not used to the torque specs. So let's put the last covers. Something about these covers, do you see how they're contoured? The front is dropping down. That's actually always the front side. And it makes your life easier if you orientate them, which side is up, which one is down. Because they could go either way, but then you have problems when you slide this roof back. This channel right here will basically clip into the glass. Just like so. Just like that. And the bottom one will also clip into the rail, just like that. That's it. That's seated. We're gonna go here, same thing. Here's that curb. Perfect. We're done with the job. We're gonna do our final cleanup, and then you go double check if the noise is gone and everything is perfect and the glass opens and closes and everything is fine. Let's verify the concern. This is something very important. Let's go to the same spot here. I hear nothing. I think life is good. Car is fixed. Customer's very happy. This is something that actually could stun a dealership because there's no TSB on this. There is no really known problem among everybody. Will be like, well, we got to pull the sunroof down and see what happens, what we find. But this is something a little bit defies logic, engineering wise, but it's fixed. That's all we care about. Customers don't need to know every little engineering thing about the problem. Problem was there. It's not an expensive fix. Problem is fixed. Customer's happy. Life is great. We're gonna leave it at that. So there you have it, folks. Car came in. Car had a concern. We took care of it. This is very simple. You always, the number one thing I always say to all the junior mechanics I work with, and most importantly to you, when you work inside of a car, worst thing, if it's your car and you stain it, it's gonna hurt. Be very careful, and you gotta be as clean as possible when you work inside your car and people's car, because you could do the best job in the world, and I learned this from experience. You could do the best job in the world on everything else, But if the customer gets in the car and sees a stain on their interior, headliner, foul smell, all your good work goes out the window, and now they're upset. And they have every right to be. Nobody wants to. Car breakdown, you go to the mechanic, spend a small fortune, then you get in the car, fingerprints everywhere, everything is dirty and bad smelling. That's not good business. Folks, I hope this video is helpful and informative. I hope you learned something new. If you like it, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some of my other videos. And until the next video, folks, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have yourself a wonderful day.